like to ask the audience a question. And let's see if anybody can tell me the answer. When does a politician ever tell the truth? I will give you a clue. There is one time when a politician will tell you the truth. Who can tell me the answer?
When he's not lying.
I'm sorry?
When he's not lying.
Oh, okay. Okay. Apparently, nobody in this audience believes that a politician ever tells the truth. So I'm going to tell you the one exception when a politician will tell you the truth. And that is when he's defeated. Mayor Cunningham made a comment in the Blunt Today article on June 24th. He made the following comment. I feel sorry for whoever has to go through next year. They will be looking for a 40% tax increase, and it will be quite a shock unless the economy dramatically improves. Now, have we heard any of those kind of predictions from our incumbent county commissioners telling us that because they did not raise property taxes this year, because it just coincidentally happens to be an election year, that because they didn't do it on an election year, that they're really going to sock it to you next year? Did I hear any of those county commissioners tell us that? Our finance manager told us that. Jennings said that there's only two ways to make up the deficit of our county spending. We either have to cut spending or raise taxes.
Cut spending.
Okay? So, let me ask you a question. Does government operate in, I'm just asking this to see if anybody thinks that this is true. Does government run at 100% efficiency?
No.
Okay? So it's a generally accepted premise that government does have some waste. Some waste, maybe it's 5%, maybe it's 10%. You know what? It might surprise the taxpayer how much waste actually is spent in government. Whether it be city, county, state, or federal, the taxpayers would be aghast. And I predict that when I actually get on the board, I will be aghast at how much waste is in our county spending. Now, if there is waste, why doesn't the county commissioners look to and eradicate that waste? It's waste. It's a violation of the trust of the voters and the taxpayers of this county to have their taxpayers wasted. And what does the county commission do? They do not look to find that waste. They don't even try. They pretend like it doesn't exist. Now, thankfully, there are many citizens who have very thoughtfully pointed some of those areas of waste out. And they are ignored. They are ignored and marginalized and ridiculed and made fun of. Totally disrespectful of the sacred duty that our county commissioners should have and should feel to the citizens that they were elected to serve. And what really is shameful is that when our county commissioners are unwilling and unable to seriously look at the 5%, 10%, 30% waste in our county spending, that they decide instead to do a very common politician's trick, and that's borrow from the rainy day fund. I heard it said in the county commissioner meeting, if there ever was a time when we should borrow from the rainy day fund, now is the time because we're in a recession. Well, that may be after you've gotten rid of the waste, or at least made an honest effort to get rid of the waste. But instead, they decided not to raise taxes because it happens to be an election year and some of them have opposition, so that in another year from now, as if you can believe Mayor Cunningham, we will be getting a 40% tax rate increase. I'll let you decide which option is the option that you would rather have. And I now conclude my little sermon and turn the time over for questions.
How would you go about identifying where the waste is? Often that's controversial. One person says that's waste, and another one says no, that's necessary. How would you identify?
It's a good question, okay? And let me try to answer that. I am a novice. I have never run for political office. I'm pretty proud of that, to be honest with you. I haven't been corrupted yet. So you'll have to forgive me if I'm a little naive, but you know, sometimes naivety is a good thing because I haven't been corrupted yet. So let me answer this question this way. If everyone in this room, and I believe most people would admit, there is waste. And like I said, there's been many citizens who have very thoughtfully pointed out a few of those areas. The only way that you can cut waste, the way the structure of our county government is the county commissioners determine what is a reasonable budget for the different department heads, and they say, based on what is a reasonable expenditure for your department, we are allocating this amount of money, which may be 90% of what they are been getting, or perhaps maybe it's 85%, or if the county commissioner, after reviewing the spending of the previous years, finds that it's even more, then they give the district department heads that much, and then they say to them, now here's the problem. I think it's very interesting that every time the ever mention of cutting the spending is brought up, the two areas they always talk about, the politicians, is schools and the police, which is the two most fundamental services that the citizens feel are the highest, they're the highest value. Well, that's a game that the citizens need to stop falling for. The citizens need to, this is what, if you had a strong county commissioner, if you had at least 11 strong county commissioners that could lead to the light side the other 10, what would happen is you would say to the department heads, based on your wasteful spending, we feel you can reduce your spending by 15 to 20%. And this is your budget. But if you do not spend it in an appropriate way and you start gutting out the meat instead of cutting out the fat, then next year we promise you we will reduce your budget by another 5 or 10% until we see you getting rid of the fat. And then if you start playing that game with us, if you start cutting teachers or you start cutting the meat instead of the fat to get the public against us, we're going to let the public know the game you're playing, and we're not going to put up with it anymore. We need county commissioners that are willing to stand up to the department heads and stop acting like Santa Claus and start being like Ebenezer Scrooge.